How do people learn how to speak? I think the only answer was that they learn it through imitation. People imitate their parents in pronouncing words. Someone who grew up in Boston speaks differently than one who grew up in Georgia. I will imitate others in all the important things of my life. It is how I learned to tie my own shoes. Learning to follow Jesus is the same process. Those who want to follow Jesus need flesh and blood role models. 1 Thessalonians Chapter 2 teaches us how to be one of these role models that pleases God. In this episode, we explore how to be a proper role model. If you are seeking to follow Jesus and want to make a positive difference in someone else's life, this message is for you. I am Gary Calloway. Thanks for joining us. Acts chapter 17 tells about Paul's time in Thessalonica. He went to the synagogue and taught them out of the Old Testament scriptures that the Messiah had to suffer, die, and rise from the dead. He was only there for 3 Sabbaths before he departed because of a town riot and criminal charges brought against believers. But in spite of these difficulties, those who believed this message were radically transformed to become men of love, hope, and faith. In chapter 1, Paul says that they became imitators of him. In chapter 2, he points out things about himself that they may have missed or forgotten. His way of teaching Christ wasn't only to speak, but also to demonstrate the Christ life. In Philippians 4:9, Paul says, "Keep putting into practice all you learned and received from me, everything you heard from me and saw me doing. Then the God of peace will be with you." This is like learning how to tie shoes. He says, watch me carefully and do exactly what you see me doing. In 1 Thessalonians Chapter 2, Paul points out the things he did that they may have forgotten. This is important because Paul knows that they need a proper role model. So he says, I am your role model. He also knows that they will be role models for others. Here he teaches them how to do it right. 2 Corinthians 2, beginning with verse 1. You yourselves know, dear brothers and sisters, that our visit to you was not a failure. You know how badly we had been treated at Philippi just before we came to you and how much we suffered there. Yet our God gave us the courage to declare his good news to you boldly, in spite of great opposition. So you can see we were not preaching with any deceit or impure motives or trickery. For we speak as messengers approved by God to be entrusted with the good news. Our purpose is to please God, not people. He alone examines the motives of our hearts. Never once did we try to win you with flattery, as you well know. And God is our witness that we were not pretending to be your friends just to get your money. As for human praise, we've never sought it from you or anyone else. As apostles of Christ, we certainly had a right to make some demands of you, but instead we were like children among you, or we were like a mother feeding and caring for her own children. We loved you so much that we shared with you not only God's good news, but our own lives too. Don't you remember, dear brothers and sisters, how hard we worked among you? Night and day we toiled to earn a living so that we would not be a burden to any of you as we preached God's good news to you. You ourselves are our witnesses, and so is God, that we were devout and honest and faultless toward all of you believers. And you know that we treated each of you as a father treats his own children. We pleaded with you, encouraged you, and urged you to live your lives in a way that God would consider worthy, for he called you to share in his kingdom and glory. Some say, I don't want to be a role model. This is naive. You already are a role model. The only question is, what kind of role model will you be? Paul says that even though he had suffered terribly as a result of his preaching, he kept on preaching the same message. A proper role model is not easily discouraged. We will all be tempted to quit for various reasons, but someone needs to show beginning disciples how to persevere. That's your job. The effect of your obedience or disobedience goes well beyond you. Others are watching. Others are imitating you. Paul said that his only motive was to please God. He wasn't trying to be popular or appreciated by men. One reason I might be discouraged is the belief that I'm not really making a difference. But you can't possibly know this in this life. As Kenny Rogers says, you never count your money while you're sitting at the table. There'll be time enough for counting when the dealing's done. He sings it better than that. But keep on doing what God called you to do, and trust God with the consequences of your obedience. Your most important observer is God, but you have another audience you may never notice. They're trying to see if you are genuinely a disciple of Jesus. He wasn't trying to get their money. He proved this by supporting himself with hard work. He genuinely loved them. He cared for them as a mother cares for her baby. His motive for telling them about Jesus was that he genuinely loved them and wanted what was best for them. Paul was looking out for their interest, not his own interest. George Washington Carver was an American agricultural scientist, inventor, and educator who rose from slavery to become one of the most prominent scientists of the early 20th century. At Tuskegee Institute, he taught crop rotation, promoted peanuts, sweet potatoes, and soybeans as alternatives to cotton, and developed hundreds of products from them, helping revitalize Southern culture and improve soil health. But more importantly, he was a Christian. Many young men, both black and white, found him to be a role model. For many who met him, they said that his most impressive characteristics were that he treated everyone with kindness and love and spoke of his faith to anyone who would listen. The boldness of Dr. Carver's faith can be observed in the account of his address to the U.S. House Ways and Means Committee in Washington, D.C. Initially, he was confronted with ethnic slurs and was limited to only 10 minutes to speak. But he responded with soft respect. The committee became so enthralled that the chairman said, "Go ahead, brother, your time is unlimited." He spoke for an hour and 45 minutes expounding on the potential of the peanut. At the end of his address, the chairman asked him how he had learned all these things. And Carver answered, "From an old book." "What book?" asked the chairman. Carver replied, "The Bible." The chairman inquired, "Does the Bible tell about peanuts?" "No, sir," Dr. Carver replied, "but it tells about the God who made the peanut. I asked him to show me what to do with the peanut, and he did." 1 Thessalonians Chapter 2 shows us characteristics of a role model that is useful in the kingdom of God. Speak boldly in the face of opposition. Be kind and gentle to everyone, especially those who insult you. Show love to those that disrespect you. Find your joy in helping others. If you want more information, the website where you found this podcast can point you in a useful direction. I worship at Trenton First Baptist Church, where this message is preached, taught, and lived. Come see for yourself.